morning.
Good morning.
My name is Reverend Patricia Roller, and you are so welcome in Sacred Space this morning. Let's just do another nice deep breath, because that felt so good, didn't it? And as you stay in your heart center, maybe you found a place today that you've been looking for, a place where you belong. But you know, there's really only one place you've always belonged, and that's within your own heart, your own self. It's always been perfect. You've always been perfect. And we'll just go ahead and just momentarily just close our eyes, and let's visualize a big circle of light around us. All of our angels, all of our guardians, our teachers, the ascended masters, all the great souls, including you, making this big circle of light and raising the vibration within you and in the room. And Spirit, we are so thankful to be together in community today and in communion with our own soul, our own self, as we go deep into our Holy of Holies today. So grateful to have the physical experience, even when it doesn't feel so good, even when we feel emotionally maybe off balance or physically off balance. So grateful that we can notice that and feel the divine love moving in and through us as we live and have our being in the divine presence. And so it is. I'm so used to knowing all of you that I see some new faces this morning. I don't remember if I said who I am, so here's who I am. I'm Reverend Patricia Roller. I'm the senior pastor here. And while you get your gift ready for a sacred space, we do our gifting in the beginning, because everything happens in the beginning. So I'm just so excited. We have a guest speaker today, Reverend Christine Green. And I met, when did I meet you? Was it a year ago? Yeah. Remarkable classes that Reverend Green gives. And I took the one on financial freedom, and what was the other one? Emotions. Powerful. And so today at 1 o'clock, Reverend Christine is going to be giving a 2-hour workshop. It's $20, and it's called Finding Peace After the 5 o'clock News. So we hope that you come to that. Let's take your gift and put it between your hands. Feel the power of your abundance. Be so blessed. All the time, talent, and dollars that come into sacred space. And we bless you for your giving. That's right. Just going into that knowing that there's never any lack, that we are creators of our own abundance, and so appreciative of watching all the abundance around us in deep, deep gratitude. So that is. Amen. Let me give you just a few other announcements that are happening. Let's see. It's going to be a busy week. So we have Reverend Green's workshop today, and then on Wednesday we have Brother Richard Lefebvre is coming, and he's part of the Ecumenical Order of Franciscans. So they are a separate order. They're an independent order, I should say, of the Franciscans. And we're going to do Night of the Mystics instead of music and meditation this first Wednesday, because Rebecca thinks she needs a vacation, so I don't know. I think she does. So music and meditation will be the third Wednesday, and so we're doing Night of the Mystics the first Wednesday. And so he's going to be talking about the mysticism around St. Francis, and you may have remembered or you may have heard about how St. Francis communed with the animals. And we know that a lot around like the birds. And so he's going to be talking about the mystical side of that. And I think something about wolf energy with St. Francis. So, and then he's going to do, and I don't know if it's full moon, but he'll be teaching us a full moon meditation in the Franciscan order that he's in. So I think it's going to be a really fun night. And then next Sunday, I'll be giving service, and Rabbi Seidel will be here from 2 to 8 p.m., and he is going to be teaching us about Kabbalah, which is the mystical form of Judaism. He is a PhD from Cambridge. He's very, very well educated, he does Jewish magic. So he's working on the book of Jewish magic. And he is an auxiliary professor at Oregon State University. So there's a sign-up sheet back there. I hope that you consider that. It's $40 for 6 hours. So we'll have a little break for dinner. I want to, Deb Kovac, where are you at? I'd like to call Deb up, and she said, really? Because I wasn't figuring on this one. Come on up, sister. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you. Deb has moved from Sacramento, what was it, in January? And found our school and our community, and has been one little ball of energy ever since, getting the word out.
Thank
so
goodness I have a place for this to go.
We're all like, wait, no, you're not done. Like, wait, let us catch up. So Deb is an amazing teacher too, and she has 2 programs coming up. I want her to talk about those. One is the vision board, and then she's just going to explain briefly what her other one is and when it is and how much. So.
Hi. Okay, I have a vision board class coming up. It's this next Saturday. It's from 10 to 1, and it covers 5 areas of your life. And if you've never been able to complete a vision board, this one you can, because I'm only going to give you a certain amount of time and tell you so that it gets on the board and that you are aware of what it is for you. You don't have to have something that says, this is me specific. You can say, this is what represents to me, so it's not like you're having the whole world know what's going on your vision board. So, there's a lot of fun secret messages to yourself by finding these pictures. And then I have another group that is starting on each Tuesday for the next 3 Tuesdays. The vision board's $8, and that's only just to pay for all of the other things. I'm not really making anything. And then the other one is on Tuesdays. It's the next 3 Tuesdays, and what we're starting out with, it's called Self-Esteem, a Creative Endeavor. And so basically we're going to just do fun things being a kid and talk a little bit around self-esteem, and not so much as that beat yourself up because you don't have it. It's like, let's find out how to get it back, because it's always been there. So one is we're going to do a 5-part journaling. We're going to create our journals, and it's 5 parts. It's not say, okay, just write. No, there's 5 pieces of what is your win for the day, what was your conversation with God, what was the things that you learned, or when you dreamed, what did you get? So that's documented. And then the next one would be, we're going to do I'm starting to shake.
Well, and we have it on the calendar,
yes,
too, so they can kind of go through
so
and
anyway,
look at that.
Yeah, it's one's creative writing is the next week, and then the week after that is creative intuitive painting. And so, and it's like, I can't remember how much it is. Not very much.
$40 for all 3 classes, and actually the first class is April 12th, and then the 3 classes
Tuesday.
start the following Tuesday.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to kill you.
Well, it's coming up on Easter. I'll rise again.
Ready.
So. Okay. Oh, so you were so brave. You were so brave. Thank you. Let's give her a round of applause. And for those of you who know me, you're like, shh, she didn't say my name this time. Okay, so I think those are the major things. I want to just put a little buzz in your ear about 2 other things. We have the retreat, the Center for Inner Awareness, and the Sacred Space retreat, and that's coming up the last Tuesday in July, and we stay at Silver Creek Falls until that Friday. And it's $240 for a shared room, $280 for a private room, and it includes the meals and all the events. So you just can't go wrong with that. And I think we have about 7 spaces left. Is that right? Maybe somewhere in there. Yeah, we're like, yeah, sure, that's right. So I think that's pretty close. We've got about 7 spaces left, and we have 50 some. So, yeah. And then the other thing is, oh my goodness, summer solstice. Woohoo! Yeah, that's right. So summer solstice, that's Saturday, June 21st, and we're going to be doing it upstairs in here, and we're having vendors, people selling products, people doing energy work, hypnotherapy, I mean, whatever your particular thing is. And so I put it out on Facebook. If you haven't heard, or if you're an author or an artist and you'd like to show your work or sell your work. So it's $25 for a half of a 6-foot table, $50 for a full 6-foot table, and if you need space, it would be something in that sort of accommodation. Someone asked me, and do you take a percentage? No, that's it. So, all-day event. It's a great way to get your name out. Make sure you bring your business cards. So see me later if you're interested in that. Thank you for letting me take your time today. So I think we have we have the choir. Send peace. Woohoo! Okay. Okay, choir.
This is called Send Peace. I actually wrote this song while I was still living in Alaska. Oh, wow. 1993. Wow. And I actually wrote this song at Christmas time for our kids to sing.
So it is my just deepest heart pleasure to introduce and welcome the Reverend and founder of Sacred Heart Ministries, Reverend Christine Bernhardt.
It's such a delight to be here today. Thank you. All of the beautiful music and the choir, and so many activities going on. Very exciting. You know, my talk is Peace Begins With Me. And so one day during the week, it was my day to write, and I prepared my space and got ready to begin the writing process, collected my books, got my cup of tea, arranged my desk to write, and got settled. And just as I was getting into the flow, my neighbor decided that was the best day to cut down 3 30-foot trees in his backyard. So chainsaws and mulcher machine and noise. Peace was gone in an instant, right? So God will always show us what we need to learn. We'll always have the opportunity. And it reminded me of the time when I moved into a new house and was so excited about it, and finally had a backyard after living in a condo. And went out in the backyard, and it was a sunny day in June, which is a blessing right there. And went out there and was just breathing in the air and looking around. And the neighbor down the street decided it was his day, that he needed to fix his car. Well, no big deal, except for the rap music that went along with it. And this horrific noise that he was sending through the neighborhood. Now let me say, when you don't like music, it's horrific. Classical could be horrific for somebody else. It's all perception, and I'm going to talk about perception in a minute. So I had buyer's remorse, because it was only 2 days in this house, and now I have to live with this. I went in and I found a chant that I use a lot for meditation. And I turned it on, and although I couldn't compete with his level of sound, I turned it up as high as I could, that was coming out the back window, that I could listen to. Because I needed to change my perception. I needed to change my idea and my energy. And that's what it did. And music, Rebecca, what beautiful music you play. I didn't know that about you.
Oh, yeah, you didn't know that.
No. And music changes us, and so chanting is one way to do it. And that's what I did. I began this chant, and it calmed me down. And it changed my energy. And pretty soon, I guess the rap music stopped, because I couldn't hear it anymore. It wasn't the focus of my attention. And so my talk today is about peace. And what is peace? Peace is a quality of God. And I always go to Webster to find out where do we begin, and what is peace? And peace is a state of quiet and calm. So the mind is in a state of quiet and calm. The body has calmness and freedom. And our emotions are in a sense of tranquility. And let me just, before I go any further, get some agreement here. Do we agree that we are all eternal beings? Yes. That we're one with that infinite energy, correct?
Yes.
And that energy is available to us all the time. And that energy is the quality of peace, beauty, harmony, and freedom. Is that correct? Yes. So we begin with that premise. If that's the premise, then what takes us out? How do we get out of peace? So if we understand that, then our awareness is important to see what takes us out. Just in my 2 examples, it was noise. It was the neighbor with the chainsaw, the rap music, the sounds were distracting me from what I considered peace and where I wanted my attention to be. So very often when we have an attachment or an expectation, that we have an expectation of what we want to happen, when that is gone, it throws us out of peace. something is taken from us, if there's a loss of a family member or friend, loss of a job, loss of a pet, that throws us out of peace. There's also when someone says something to us or relays information that we don't agree with. And I was reminded of a story, the story of the samurai warrior. And there was a very brave and strong samurai warrior, according to the legend, and he wanted to find out the difference between heaven and hell. And the only person who could answer the question was a monk who lived high up in the mountains in a small hut. So the samurai warrior decided that's what he was going to do, that he needed very much to talk to this monk. So he traveled many days and nights. He traveled through forests and meadows. He forged rivers and streams, and finally climbed the tall, ominous mountain till he finally got to the place, to the hut. And he met with the monk, and the monk welcomed him into his hut. And the warrior said, I must know the difference between heaven and hell. This is very important to me, and I must have the answer, and you're the only one who has the answer. And the monk smiled and said, I shall not tell you. You are too stupid. And the warrior was shocked. How could he say that? No one talks to the samurai warrior like that. And why would he say that? He knew how far he traveled. He was shocked. And then the monk said, and besides, you are too ugly. And the samurai warrior was enraged, and his blood began to boil. And he drew his sword from his belt, and he raised it over his head at the monk. And the monk looked up and said, that is hell. And the warrior realized what he was doing, and he dropped the sword, and he buried his head into his hands. And the monk said, and that, my son, is heaven. And in that moment, we can drop from heaven into hell, from peace into fear, from love into hate. It's up to us. I looked for a resource from A Course in Miracles. I love the teaching in that book. And one of the teaching lessons in it is, I am not a victim of the world I see. Will you say that with me? I am not a victim of the world I see. Because very often when we are affected by something someone says or does, we feel like we've been a victim, that we've given away our power to someone else. And that's not the truth. There is another way of looking at the world. Say that with me. There is another way of looking at the world. Because we can observe it as pain and suffering. We can observe it as separation. We can observe it as something we don't want. But there's always another way, that we have a choice. In every moment, we have a choice of how we see things, of how we perceive things. And my most favorite one is, I can see peace instead of this. With me? I can see peace instead of this. And it's in those opportunities when we're drawn, when we're wanting to go to that place of hatred or dismay or fear or separation, that we have a choice of seeing peace. So how do we bring ourselves to that choice? The Course in Miracles talks about two things, knowledge and perception. That knowledge is the eternal truth. It's the spiritual laws. It's the presence of God, the presence of love. So knowledge is that place. Perception is what we've done. Perception is the place where we have duality. It's what we believe. It's all of our past beliefs and thoughts and ideas that we bring to the surface. That it's our perception of the world, and that's what takes us out. We can go from that place of the law of love, of the togetherness, of the awareness of God into our perception of separation. And isn't that what we do when the slightest thing happens, or listening to the news? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Is in our workshop today, we're going to actually engage in some practices. And Reverend Lloyd, my teacher, has created a peace plan. We're going to have a plan for peace for ourselves that you're going to create, so that when those opportunities come, that you don't go there, but that you are grounded and where you want to go in peace. So in order to understand our perceptions, we have to stay aware of our emotions. And it's really easy to want to do what we feel like doing, right? When we don't feel like getting out of bed, or we feel like eating the second piece of chocolate cake. And it's easy to do what we feel like doing, but most of the time, what we feel like doing is either illegal, immoral, or socially unacceptable. Would you say? Or simply self-defeating. Or it's just self-defeating. So the important thing for us is to begin to manage our emotions. And Reverend Lloyd Strom states, success in life requires us to contradict our emotions. Think about that. Success in life requires us to contradict our emotions. That we have the emotion and we say, no, I'm not going there. Or to brush it off, no, go away. That's not the truth for me. Or that place, I can see peace instead of this. So we learn to contradict our emotions. Our job is not to give in to emotions, but to tell our emotions, tell ourselves how to feel. How do we want to feel? What is it that we want to experience in the world? So it's important that as we understand our emotions are indicators of what we are believing. Because our emotions are telling us someone is against me. Someone's trying to take something from me. Someone's keeping my good from me. I lived most of my life in the belief that there's not enough. There's just not enough to go around. I heard those lofty ideas from my family. There's not enough. You can't have that. What do you think, money grows on trees? Anyone ever hear that one? Right. So I believed there was not enough, and I lived my life that way, that someone else had power, that someone else had the opportunities, but not for me. And it wasn't until I began to do conscious work that I began to see things differently. I began to receive and be open to the goodness that was around me. So the more awareness we have of our beliefs and our emotions, the more freedom we have in life. Because we're not attached to the outside, but we have that sense of freedom within. And teacher, philosopher Ernest Holmes says, a trained mind is infinitely more powerful than an untrained mind. Because our mind is constantly chatting at us, right? Constant thoughts of you should or shouldn't, or who says you can do that, or why do you think you can do that? All these things. But the more we train the mind in what we're believing, we can train our emotions, because thoughts stir up emotions, and emotions dictate our actions. So one of the things that we want to be aware of is to train the mind. So I have 6 steps that we can follow. There's many more, but there's 6 steps that I found that are important, that we can follow, that will help us live a more peaceful life. And the first one is to pause before you speak. There's giggles in the room. Doesn't that make a difference? If we could just take, Patricia several times had us take a breath. Take another breath. If we could remember to take that pause before we speak, especially if you want to say something that's out of love, that's not in the presence of love, to pause before you speak. It makes a huge difference and can keep you centered in peace, centered in love, rather than catapulting you into fear. Remember to breathe. Breathe again. Breathing is the greatest gift we have. And do you know what I discovered? It's free. It doesn't cost a penny. And it's one of the most healing practices we can have, to breathe and take in that life. When you breathe, it calms down the body. It increases the energy, and it changes. It changes us. Take time for silence. We spend so much time. This is a noisy world, isn't it? I'm very, as you can hear from my sharing, I'm very conscious about noise. But taking the time, the conscious time in silence, away from the computer, the TV, the phone, the iPad, the iPod, all of the things, because there are so many things clamoring for our attention. Taking our attention away from those things for even the smallest moment, to be able to find that place of peace, just for a couple minutes, to be able to be in the silence. There's such power in silence, and it's a cleansing to the mind. That's why meditation is so important and so powerful, when you can engage in the meditation practices. Don't complain. Complaining keeps us in the problem. Complaining, I saw a couple nudges like that on both sides.
Refrain from complaining.
Yeah, okay, thank you. The complaining keeps us in the problem. It expands the problem, because now I have a problem, I'm going to tell someone else, and then I'm going to tell my neighbor, and then I'm going to tell someone else, and then we tell the person at the cosmetic counter at the store, and then we've told everyone about the problem. Now everyone is aware of the problem and thinking about us with the problem. So the more we complain, we've just rippled out that problem, that challenge, into the expanse, and now we've told everyone, and now everyone sees that. Keep it. Write it down in a journal. Tell it to a friend who will consciously listen. Surrender it in a prayer. Do something but to keep us from that place of complaining. Learn to forgive. Probably one of the most difficult, and we're gonna actually do some forgiveness practices this afternoon. But here's the thing. Would you rather be right, or would you rather be in the presence of love? And sometimes in order to forgive, we have to give up our idea of being right, that we have the right way, or the right thing, or the right idea. That when we can forgive and let go, this is really about surrender. I surrender, that I don't have to be the one holding this all together. I don't have to hang on to those old ideas and those experiences from the past. I know when I go back east to visit my dad will be telling me something about this story. I say, when did that happen? In 1972. But he still remembers it. We remember the past, we stay attached to it. Surrender it and let it go. Have compassion for yourself. That we're all just trying to do the best job that we can. We're doing the best that we can here on this planet that is evolving and changing all the time. That there are so many challenges. There are so many things that happen in the world. We're just trying to stay centered. We're trying to do the best thing that we can. Have compassion for yourself. Give yourselves a break. Find your own center of love and peace. It makes a difference. The Course in Miracles talks about a holy encounter. And it says, when you meet someone remember it is a holy encounter. As you see him, you will see yourself. As you treat him, you will treat yourself. As you think of him, you will think of yourself.
Each of us, as you are invited to close your eyes if you wish, as we go deeper into meditation, all of us have that special place, very special place within. As I come out among you, we're going to raise energy together. Raise your vibration even more. Remembering who you are. You are light beings. You are spiritual beings having a human experience. And that doesn't make any experience wrong. We get to choose, though. Isn't that lovely that we have choice? We get to choose which experiences we would like to have. Imagine yourself now in your very favorite place. Maybe that's deep in the woods. Maybe that's by the ocean. Maybe that's in a special place in your house. Wherever that is, be there now. As you draw in your next deep breath. That's right. Allowing yourself to move deeper into that space. That place of perfect love, perfect peace. And as you relax into that feeling, notice how beautiful it is to come back to yourself. How powerful it is to remember who you are. And when you don't, that's okay too. Because here's something to remember. You will always come back to you. You can never lose who you are in any experience. Because you are the expression of the divine. And the divine knows only peace, only love. And when your energy goes out and wants to experience something else, the divine within you is holding that place for you to come back to. And that's how powerful you are. That's how beautiful you are. That's how peaceful you are. That's you. And if that's okay, let's take another nice deep breath. And let that energy move through every fiber of your being. Feel that move. Feel that course through your bloodstream. Feel your head tingle with who you really are. And your light is so big, it's so big that you have the availability to touch others today. As you walk out today and you are big in your light, others will feel that. And they'll remember their light, and then they'll be big in their light. And you see, that's how we create peace. Because peace begins with you, doesn't it? Peace always begins right at home. It's not really a choice, it's a remembrance. That's so beautiful. The divine arms are holding you always, loving you. You are not alone. You cannot fall, you cannot fail. But you can experience, and that's okay. Another nice deep breath. I'm just going to walk out among you now as you stay in that peaceful place. Very deep, very peaceful. It's good. Letting your energy go deeper and deeper. Good. Very good. And wherever you're at right now, listen to whether you hear the wind, the breeze, the lapping of the waves, the rustling of the leaves, whatever that is. Or maybe it's just pure silence. I invite you to go the next layer of peace and allow yourself to just relax into that as if you were falling back on a feather bed. All the way back into your peace. All the way back into your light. All the way back into your love. That's it. Just let yourself go. All the way. Good. Just notice how relaxed you are right now. How your body is just so receptive to this divine state of being. Your body is in such joy. if you've had any pain, you can just release that too. Just let it go. As you fall deeper into your feather bed of peace. Let your fears go. God's got this. Okay? The God in you has got this. Whatever you're going through right now, emotional, financial, whatever it is, God's got this. You've never been alone. So just relax. Relax your whole body. Relax your mind. Doesn't that feel good? Isn't that peaceful? Take a nice deep breath. That's right. Gonna start to come back into this room. All the way back into this room, bringing your peace and your light and your love with you. Good. And let's all, as you open your eyes, take a nice deep breath, and we're just going to sigh it all out, all right? Good job. All right. Now, that just makes me want to just laugh. People go, oh my God, you do that all the time anyway, but I just love it when we remember who we are and we're all in joy, and that joy comes up to our body and we're like, woohoo, right? Just so happy, happy to be here. Okay. Before our closing song and the closing blessing, I do want to share with you. In April, we're going to, I don't know if Donna's going to be here to do a service or not, but I am going to be doing the whole month, Birth and Rebirth. Okay, and it's going to be a lot off of the book of Billy Fingers by Annie Kagan. So, yeah, I was on Facebook with Annie the other day, and I said, hey, you ever get to Oregon? And she's like, I'm not traveling for my book. And I said, look, if you ever decide, we'd love to have you. And she says, okay. I'll keep that in mind. So she lives in Long Island. So if you haven't gotten her book, she's just amazing. You know, it's a true life story. It is very powerful. So I'll be working off of that. You know, Billy died, and he's on the other side, and he's talking to her. And this is a true story. And he's talking to her. And, you know, some of the things he's experiencing over there, why he made the choices he did here. He was a drug addict, and he couldn't get past his addiction. And so just powerful, powerful message. And then for Easter Sunday, we'll have a potluck right afterwards, and we're doing a celebration of life. So that's what we're doing for Easter Sunday, and this is how that looks. I'll be sharing from my own perspective about, you know, my teachers of my life, my ascended teachers, and how that's influenced me. And then this is going to be open for your heart to come up. And would be welcoming if your body would too, but have your whole self come up here, and maybe you want to share your spiritual experience, whatever that is. And so this is going to be open to community, and this is how we're going to celebrate Jesus the Christ. By, you know, I know personally for me, this may not be for you, but Jesus was all about community, ecclesia, okay? It's the church without walls is what ecclesia means. And so he was all about the ascended master in you. So, and those everywhere. So we're going to celebrate that in that way for Easter Sunday. All right, so in that joy, in that spirit, bless your week, bless you. Take your light out and share it. Don't keep it in, because you are beaming. Amen.
Amen.
Oh.